Proverbs 15:22 says, plans fail for lack of counsel. There were seasons where I prayed for clarity and God didn't give me answers. He gave me people. Their counsel became the bridge to the understanding I was missing. That's when I learned something about how God works. His wisdom often speaks through the voices in the room if we're humble enough to listen. Are you ready to unlock growth, build resilience, and confidently take the next step in leadership, career, and faith? Welcome to The Next Move. I'm Orvin Kimbrough, a CEO, author, and leader with a passion for helping people and organizations thrive. My journey from foster care to CEO has fueled my mission to help professionals scale their confidence, leadership, and influence through mindset shifts, expanded networks, and bold action. Each week, I'll share reflections ripped straight from my blog to inspire and empower you with actionable insights. Let's get started and make your next move your best move. Have you ever walked out of a meeting, a family talk, or even a one-on-one conversation thinking, we talked for an hour, but nothing really changed? I've been there, and here's what I've learned. The problem usually isn't the people, it's the purpose. We mistake updates for impact. We share information, but not inspiration. We talk about what happened, but rarely about what could happen next. Today, I want to talk about how to turn our meetings and our moments into spaces where growth actually happens, where hearts and minds align, and where something new comes alive. Welcome back to The Next Move, the podcast where we explore faith, leadership, and personal growth to help you take your next step with purpose and confidence. Folks, I'm your host, Orvin Kimbrough. I am so grateful you are here. Today's reflection comes from Proverbs 15:22. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, guess what? They succeed. That verse reminds me of something I've lived more than once. Success in work, in family, in faith doesn't come from more information. It comes from better conversation. It's not the stack of reports that moves us forward. It's the courage to listen, the humility to seek counsel, and the willingness to hear truth, even when it stretches us. Years ago, when I first started leading teams, I thought a good meeting meant checking all the boxes. If I'm honest, I equated order with success because chaos had marked so much of my early life. I wanted things to look right. We covered the agenda, we hit the metrics, and we moved on. Everything appeared clean and controlled, but it didn't feel alive. One day, I realized I was running meetings to prove we were working, not to improve how we worked. Folks, that truth hit hard. So I started shifting the question. Instead of asking, what do people need to know? I started asking, what do people need to think about? What do they need to wrestle with? And that one small change, that one decision to move from reporting to reflection changed the energy in the room. When you stop managing conversations and start mining them, you begin to hear things you've never heard before. A quiet team member finally speaks up with a fresh insight. Someone challenges an old assumption, and instead of tension, you feel clarity forming. That's when I realize growth doesn't happen when everyone agrees. Growth happens when people feel safe enough, when they feel safe enough to be honest. I've learned this the hard way in leadership, in faith, and even in family. When conversations only report what happened, they keep us current. But when they invite us to ask what's next, they keep us growing. Reports are like weather updates, useful, but they don't change the climate. Reflection does, courage does, listening does. And this isn't, folks, this isn't just about boardrooms or staff meetings. It's about how we all show up wherever decisions are made, in classrooms, in community rooms, or kitchen tables. Ask yourself, are we just checking the box, exchanging updates, or are we inviting understanding? Are we playing it safe, or are we daring to grow? Are we talking at each other, or are we truly listening for wisdom? Meetings don't change people. moments of meaning do. And you don't need a title to lead one. You don't need a title to lead one. You just need the courage to bring your whole self into the conversation, your curiosity, your honesty, your faith. Proverbs 15:22 says, plans fail for lack of counsel. I've lived this verse. There were seasons where I prayed for clarity and God didn't give me answers. He gave me people. Their counsel became the bridge to the understanding I was missing. That's when I learned something about how God works. His wisdom often speaks through the voices in the room if we're humble enough to listen. So here's one small practice for your next conversation. Take one item, just one item that you normally report and turn it into a question. Instead of saying, here's what we did, ask, here's what we learned, and what does that mean for us next? That one question invites the spirit into the space. It opens the door to transformation. So, folks, this week, look for one conversation that needs more heart than polish. Don't just fill the air with words, fill the space with presence, because sometimes the next move isn't what you say, it's what you make possible when you listen. Reports inform, reflection transforms. And when we bring our whole selves, honest, imperfect, willing to the table, we don't just plan for the future. We begin to shape it. That's your next move. Until next time. If this episode meant anything to you, comment, like, share. Make today great.
Thank you for tuning in to The Next Move. I hope today's reflection inspired you to take the next step in your leadership, career, or faith journey. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need a little encouragement this week. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you'd like more reflections or resources, visit orvinkimbrough.com or theaccidentalbanker.com. Until next time, remember, every step you take brings you closer to thriving. Let's keep moving forward together.